Welcome to Elite Broker, the podcast showcasing the leading players and stories of success from Australia's broking industry.
Hello and welcome back to Elite Broker. I'm your host for today, Annie Kane. And in this week's episode of Elite Broker, we're talking to a broker who you may already know, Amol Khuntale from Ask Financials. Today, we're diving into his story because I think it's really interesting seeing why people become brokers and how they set up their brokerages. And in this episode, we're unpacking how his own personal experience of using a broker inspired him to become a broker himself. He's got a background in finance, been in the banking and finance industry for a while, having also holding a master's in banking and finance and spending years in the corporate banking world before becoming a property investor and later a broker that specializes in property investment. And since launching in 2018, has turned his powerhouse brokerage into the place to go if you want to find a property loan, property investment advice. So today, Amol is joining me in the studio to chat about how he transitioned from banking to broking, why he's doubled down on a niche for time-poor professionals, and how he manages his team to scale without burning out. Thank you for joining me, Amol. How are you going?
Thank you so much for having me. I'm lovely today. How are you?
I am very well. I'm very appreciative of you making the journey here into North Sydney because you're not Sydney-based.
Yes, I'm Melbourne-based.
Melbourne-based. I appreciate you schlepping over the boundary to come up to Sydney for this podcast, and it's wonderful to have you here and chat about your story. Now, we know your name because we often see your name up in lights for all the awards that you've won in the past and for the volumes that you're writing. But for anyone who's not had the pleasure of meeting you before, Amol, what was your journey into broking? Because I think it was a personal experience with brokers that kind of made you decide to take the lead.
Absolutely. See, I'm very passionate about investment properties. So when I was building my portfolio, so for first property, second property, third property, it was pretty straightforward vanilla deal. But as I started to scale my portfolio, I found it difficult. So I was working at ANZ. So it was predominantly the ANZ brokers or, the ANZ staff members, the branch staff who was assisting me. But after third and fourth property, they're like, you are on the verge of exhausting your borrowing capacity. So I used to go for a lot of meetups. I used to go for those webinars, seminars. I met a lady, she was from Perth. She had close to 80 plus properties in Australia.
Whoa.
And she was doing developments and all. So I said, how did you do it? So that was the basic questions. And after that, I took her up for coffee and just understood how she has built her. She's in her late 50s, no any degree or anything of the sort, super sharp with numbers. And she told me about how she went from one property to the other. Of course, now all the lending rules have changed since she started. But the basic crux still remains the same. It's the data-driven strategy, which when you're looking to buy an investment property and to structure the loans properly. So then I started to meet different brokers and all, and it was the other way around. I started guiding them, hey, you need to do this, and this is how we'll get the loan approved. And when I wanted, as I said, I've been in property space. I wanted to get into property space. One of my friends said, hey, why don't you become a buyer's agent? I was like, I'm not a salesy person. I had a data background at ANZ as well. I'm very analytical. Numbers, I love numbers. So broking is something resonated well with me. And I was like, I can add really good value in this space because this is the journey I have walked, and let me add value to this. Help the people achieve their financial freedom by building their property investment portfolio wealth. So for me, from the day one, my niche was clear that I want to play in this investment space. And what I did is, before I became a broker, I started to find out what are the things that needs to be there from the broking side, as well as I had different Excel models which are required for the investors. So when I started my brokering, I had few things which no other brokers had to offer, which was skill to develop or to grow your portfolio. So I sharpened my skill well before I became a broker.
Yeah. So you kind of walk the walk and talk the talk. Yeah.
Correct.
So you were really into property investment, and really it was about structuring portfolios, really, to be like, how do you finance a portfolio of properties when they're kind of, you can have different leverages and stuff like that. So what were the sort of things that you were finding challenging when you were trying to get it done? Like, what was it, the stuff, you said earlier that you were kind of advising the brokers almost to be like, this is how you should be doing it. What was the challenges they were coming up with?
As you know, a lot of brokers don't understand on how the trust lending was. I'm talking this about 10 years back.
Yeah.
Okay, now trust has become a buzzword.
Everybody's doing it.
Yeah. But 10 years back, there was hardly any brokers who understood how the trust lending works. Not many people in the branch understood how the trust lending works. What are the main pros and cons of going under trust, which type of property is suitable for the trust lending, all the different hacks that we can use in the trust from the taxation purposes as well, but different cons that you potentially cannot get any negative gearing in trust. So those are the things which I learned. And I was guiding that, okay, let's go with this lender, let's go with that lender. And that's what I was guiding my brokers at that time.
Right. Did you ever think about, when you were working at the bank, kind of being like, I wish we could do this more?
Absolutely. You always had that because you had that frustration because all the time you were getting the answers that your serviceability is locked out. And it's like, definitely that should be a way, because when people are scaling their portfolios to 20, 30, 40 properties and I'm stuck at 3 properties, that's not the right answer. So different lenders, different outcomes. It's always going to be the case. But when I was just at ANZ, I was just looking at ANZ as the option. And I was locked out with ANZ. Yeah. And sometimes what happens is it's better to take 2 steps back to go 10 steps forward. So when I went to my property number 5, I had to sell a couple of assets, which were non-performing assets, and then free up my borrowing capacity and then go into the trust lending, build my portfolio that way.
Yeah, awesome. So I'm just curious about the properties that you invest in. Is it like any particular areas? Are you kind of buying everywhere? Do you have like something that you're really looking for?
When I started investing, I did a lot of mistakes which all the people do. So my first property, fresh out of uni, I purchased land in Century Lakes in Melbourne. And within 6 months before the settlement, I sold it, made 60,000 profit. Wow. I was on a grad program at 54,000 and earning 60,000 as a graduate. I was like, well, this is what I want to do. So what I did, I invested in Tarnit. Tarnit was a brand new suburb in Melbourne. And after holding for 2 years, it didn't grow in value at all because of huge supply. I sold it, no profit, no loss. What I did, I invested in an apartment. And that was an off-market, off-plan apartment. Paid my deposit using the credit card. And another mistake. So apartment again. I was getting a decent rental, but didn't grow in value. So capital growth was something that was missing. And then, as I said, I started to go to different webinars, seminars. So I sold all the dead properties which were in my portfolio, then started investing. Then, I went into Brisbane. I got a really dirt cheap at 300,000, which is sitting over $1 million right now.
Amazing.
I've got 4 properties in Brisbane. I've got 2 properties in Victoria, in Tassie, in New South Wales, and in Adelaide.
Wow.
So slowly then, purchasing that first initial assets are crucial because it helps you to extract equity and go for your next one rather than you saving the money. But important, the common mistakes that a lot of investors do is that they just concentrate on the immediate property because potentially after 5th or 6th property, you're like, I shouldn't have purchased that first property under this structure. So it's important to have that end goal in mind, having that North Star, where I want to go, what I want to do. And based on that, you start reverse engineering and structuring your loans.
Yeah, awesome. Well, this is why it's so important to have such great advice from brokers because you're able to sort of look at the whole life plan and the whole plan of your client, which often I think is missing in a lot of other areas. It's so great to see the brokers really having clients for life and helping them achieve what they want to achieve in their lives as well, using finance for properties. Just going back to your broker introduction then, I always am curious to see how do you make a decision of what kind of broker you're going to be? If you're going to be an independent broker with your own brokerage or a franchise broker in a group, or if you're going to join somebody else's brokerage, what was your thought process for before arriving at Ask Financials?
So when I started, I was working at ANZ, so I was prohibited to work as a broker, but my wife started working as a broker. So I was still doing the strategy part, not the advice part. So 2018 is when my wife started this business. And, I was doing the strategy and I got used to it. And slowly we started to grow the business to a point where I took a decision that I'm going to quit ANZ. Now, quitting the ANZ, I was at a director role, earning pretty good salary, and my wife was pregnant with our second one. Oh. She was working. She was on mat leave as well. So she was like, "Are you sure you want to do this? Live your career of ANZ for 14 years and start something completely new?" I was like, "See, this is the area I really love. I enjoy. This is the one which I help the clients, and that gives me the satisfaction. I'm passionate about property. I can talk about it all day. Let me try this out." Because the last thing you want is to have a regret on your deathbed. I should have done that. Yeah. So I said, let me try. What happens if I fail is that at least I am still employable. I have the option to go back to any bank or do the things that I was still doing. But let me try. And she's like, yeah, you should try it. So, and it was peak COVID. So, and there was no income. She was not working. I was not working. 1st December, zero salary, zero clients in that. It was difficult. And I was like, have I taken a wrong decision or right? So, okay, let's go back to the basics. Started connecting with the clients, existing clients, the prospective clients, and worked on my business plan. Um, it was a bit difficult that particular period, but I was pretty confident that I will do well. So post January, started to get more leads, and yeah.
So your wife actually started the business. Does she
Yeah.
still work there?
She does help me
Yeah.
in the business, yes.
And now that it's sort of your company, did you ever then like sort of think, oh, you know, like I'm gonna kind of think about maybe changing an aggregator? Like, did you ever go through that aggregation sort of choice? Because I imagine that would have been hard.
I did. I'll tell you a story what happened. So when we started, I started with NMB, which my wife was with. And it was, again, one of the BDMs, was amazing person. He was good mate. And that's how we joined NMB. So it was just, he was amazing BDM at NMB. So that's the reason we joined it. But what happened is when I started to work as a broker, it started becoming difficult to do myself. So I wanted to have that back office support. So one of the Sydney-based brokers said like, hey, why don't you join under my ACL? You run under your own brand, but I'll give you the back office support and we'll take whatever the aggregate splits were.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, yeah, that's fine. For me, as far as I'm working under my brand, because this is what I'm working on, that's what it matters. So he only provided me with 2 support staff. And what happened was I became more like a postman. So they never used to connect with the clients. They used to send me the email. I used to send it to the client. So my volumes, although I'm getting the leads, but I was not able to service those many clients. So I told him that, hey, I want to get out of this and I want to have my own team because it's not working out. I need someone who can connect with the clients. Because I had to hire someone just to sort out the emails. Fortunately, then what I did is I just moved out of his ACL and went directly with AFG. So the transition, I didn't have to get reaccreditation with all the lenders and things like that. Yeah. By the time the AFG BDMs were amazing, so they helped me, support me, transition through this. And then I started building my team, and then the volumes just skyrocketed.
Can you remember what your first loan was?
Absolutely. So, when I started, I actually approached all my family and friends here, but it's a common that none of your family and friends will support you. But what happened is one of my friend, he recommended my name to his friend who wanted an investment advice, not the loan advice.
All right.
Yeah. So he said, hey, I'm planning to purchase my first investment property. What do you think? So the conversation lasted for almost 45 minutes. 5 minutes was about the loan. 40 minutes was about the property and investment. And he's like, can you help me with the loan? I was like, yes. That was my first loan.
There we go. It's so common, I think. And people are often surprised when they become brokers. They're like, well, obviously my friends and family were my first clients. And so often they're like, it's actually, I think because so many people are worried about endangering their relationship with someone that they're friends or related to, that they're like, actually, I don't know if I want to mix money into this conversation. So people are often surprised by that. They're like, oh, I thought it'd be easy because I have a huge family and no one would give me a loan. But yes, that's often the case. They refer out because they go, we still trust you. We just don't want to have this in our own dynamic. So here's one of my mates for you. That's good. Obviously, looking at then property investment being your main specialty, do you do any other types of loans?
Well, now what happens is all the existing clients have their family and friends and they're like purchasing their first homes and all. Yeah, I do it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say no to it, but having that niche, but venturing out on the different areas, definitely. If someone says, if existing client comes and says, I want to do a commercial loan, definitely I'll do it. I want to have a car loan, I'll do it.
Yeah. Is most of the property investment that you're doing then residential?
Resi and commercial as well.
And commercial too.
Yeah.
Are you seeing any like trends in what people are buying in commercial properties?
Commercial properties is predominantly not the CBD ones. Right. So we are looking at the warehouses, we're looking at medical centers, those kind of things. But predominantly, again, it's 90% of my clientele are looking at the resi space.
So what kind of clients do you typically see coming through your doors? Is it sophisticated property investors? Is it first property investors? And do you have any like trending kind of professions that come to you?
It's all the investor clientele. So 90% of my clientele are the investor clientele, be it your first property investor or people who are having 15 plus properties. So I've got a wide range of clientele, but predominantly it's the investor clientele who want to grow their portfolio. They come to me.
And do you have anyone with like a crazy amount of properties on your team?
I have one of the clients who's based in Singapore, and literally in 2 years, we were able to build a portfolio of 13 properties in 2 years.
Wow.
So pretty great, and all his properties are amazing locations. So he's sitting on 1.5 mil plus equity in less than 2 years.
Wow.
So that was amazing. I've got heaps of clients who have 10 plus properties as well.
Wow.
I've got a medical client who has 25 plus properties. So yeah.
You must be quite proud when you kind of like settle someone who's got a huge portfolio and really complicated finances. Well, not complicated, but like just a lot. Like trying to get that all done and dusted for them. The sort of feedback from them must be quite rewarding.
Absolutely. It does give me a kick to see that portfolio. And I was like, this is amazing. So yeah, seeing the client stories, it really gives me happiness.
Do you, like, as a sort of a broker that specializes in property investment, do you always kind of help the clients understand their equity position, like consistently? Do you give them regular updates, or is it kind of like the loan is done, that's it?
I was working on our investment platform, and we had built a portfolio tracking tool where you can see your portfolio, how it is doing. Plus, you can see live what your equity position sits at. So potentially, again, we may go live with that particular project. But it had amazing things it could do. It could also do a projection of when you can achieve that financial freedom, or it does use to do reverse engineering that, okay, I need 150 as passive income. This is my existing portfolio. How many properties you need, when you need to buy, when you need to sell, that kind of projection. So I had those Excel models, which we had converted into the platform kind of thing.
Cool.
Yeah.
And when you look at then the kind of like number of loans, I think it's always interesting to be like, well, how many loans are you able to get through? And then we'll talk a bit later about how you actually get through those loans, like the structure of the team. But what do you reckon you're writing a year?
So last year, number of loans, we wrote around 458.
Wow.
This year, we have already done 700 plus.
Wow. In the financial year?
In this financial year.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah. So yeah, our target is to double it.
And how many, is that just you as a sole broker?
Yeah, it's just me as a sole broker.
Woo.
But now I've got a good team around me.
A good team. Okay, well, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll be talking about the team and how you manage to structure your team to get through that amount of volume, because that's a huge amount of loans. And we'll get into that just after this. So, Amol, you've got a team working behind you to plow through 700, if not more, loans in a year. So how do you actually do that? Walk me through who does what.
So see, it's trial and error. There's no particular thing that works because we have changed the process so many times. It's just from the operational efficiency perspective, because as a sole broker, you can do only limited stuff. So last year, what I used to do is I used to take all the discovery calls. So if I'm getting 10 clients, out of that only 5 clients decide to proceed, I'm wasting my time on that remaining 5. So what we did is we changed. We have now the relationship team, or the initial people who will take that initial discovery call with the client, nurture them. If the client is happy to proceed, they will submit the documents. That goes to the credit team. We create a strategy pack, and after that, I'm going to have a strategy session with the customer. So those customers are the ones who have already submitted the documents. They're ready to go, and I just put the strategy together. We said that this is what we are going to go with. These lenders are the ones we are going to go with. This is the structure we are going to go with, and that's it. We get the approval, and customer proceeds.
So, I mean, I understand a lot of people might have team members that help with the discovery and getting all the documentation and stuff. So with the other team that are kind of helping put the strategy together, are they also brokers, or are they kind of just looking at what lender policies will fit? Like, what exactly are they doing?
So the relationship managers, they're not the brokers, but they're more like a para broker. So they don't give advice on the lender selection. This is where I jump in.
Yeah.
But what we do is we have the initial conversation about what their goals are, what they want to achieve, how we can add value to that. We take all the income, liabilities, all the information, and we do a high-level assessment whether they are in a position to borrow or not. Based on that, we request the documents through broker engine, through AFG broker engine. Once the client submits the documents, it goes to my credit team. Credit team will check they'll do all the assessment. Then basically we have the lender selection methodology. Then after that, I will check that, and then I'll have a strategy call with the client.
Yeah, cool. And when it comes to actually then, I guess, sort of the number of people in the team, have you like grown it over time? Did you kind of start with a small team and grow it? Did you start with a big team and shrink it? Like, what did that look like?
Yep. So last year, literally, as I said, through that other broker, I had only 2 members, and I went solo in July 2024.
Right.
Yeah. So I started with my first one, and today we are sitting at 17 people.
17?
Yeah.
Whoa. So are they all onshore, offshore? What's the structure?
Yep. So I've got total 3 staff members onshore, which are more of our relationship team members, and the rest of them are overseas.
Yeah.
So I've got credit team overseas, post-settlement care, settlement care, everything is overseas.
Yeah. Okay. So after you've done your whole sort of strategy, the client's gone ahead, then you've got a separate team to do
Correct.
the kind of after the settlement.
Correct.
Sorry, you said post-settlement. What was the other one?
So we have credit
Settlement.
team,
Yeah.
then we have settlement team, and post-settlement care.
Okay. So I'm imagining the post-settlement care are doing like repricing and
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So actually the post-settlement care is based in Australia. Yeah. So the credit team and settlement team is based overseas.
Okay, awesome. And how did you determine that you needed that many people?
It's just the number of volumes that we are doing, the number of loans we are writing. It's just that our SLAs was going up. So I've always told the team that the moment you hit your 80% mark, let me know. We'll hire more.
Yeah. So I guess this is a big question for a lot of people. You know, so many brokers want to hire, but they're kind of like, I don't know if I feel ready to be responsible for someone else's income, or I'm too busy to train someone up. How did you go about it? Did you kind of hire someone that you knew? Did you hire someone from an offshore company that specializes in broking that could train them? Like, I wonder how you actually brought in the help and managed to keep
I
going.
had a lot of trial and errors. So initially I had few team members in Philippines, which didn't work out. So I had to hire, fire. I tried the agency model. So I became more like a training machine for them because it was trust lending. It was a bit complicated. The moment they used to learn it, they used to leave. Some other person used to join. I had to retrain. I said,
Annoying.
if I'm going to train them, may as well I'll have my own staff members. So the initial first few staff members that we got, they were experienced credit analysts. So it was easy. And then all the new team members, so the existing staff members started training them. So what we do is every Friday we have learning sessions. So we get the BDMs from different banks, but we have our internal learning sessions as well. So we pick up a topic and we train them. So it's more like one person will teach on that particular topic, and it's a Q&A sessions. We record it so everyone understands it.
Yeah, it's good. It's having ongoing training.
Correct.
Yeah. And when you look at then the sort of, I guess, the financials it comes to as a business owner of thinking about how you're going to support that many team members, but do you do it like based on file? Was it sort of, full salary? How did you kind of...
So it's a competitive salary, but we have a very good bonus structures as well. So I want to make sure that all the staff members are happy as well. So I always tell the staff members that when the business make money, you make money as well. So I don't want to keep it to myself. I want to distribute that to my staff.
Yeah, because I think that's, like, as you said there, like it's a common grievance where people are like, I've spent all this time and effort training someone, and then they go and leave, and just be like, how do I retain someone? So yeah, having bonus can be helpful in that. When it comes to then like looking at customer service, obviously like a big part of what a broker's success comes down to is how well the clients like them and how, sort of the work they're doing for their clients as well. What for you is the sort of mark of good customer service? What do you pride yourself on?
See, again, I'll talk more about the issues that we face as a business. What happens is it depends on the credit analyst who is handling that particular file. So the customer service goes up and down based on the person who handles the file. So what we have done is we have the SOPs and we have a checklist to make sure that the minimum standards are this, and we are not going to drop on those particular standards. But what client needs is frequent communication, frequent updates. So what we're doing is we're working on a CRM where there will be more frequent updates as we speak. We're trying to integrate AI and technology into it so that customer knows where things are sitting at and they're not left in the blank.
Well, you're talking a lot about artificial intelligence in the broking industry at the moment. It's really interesting seeing what different people are doing. How are you using it?
So right now there's a lot of, as I said, a lot of work going in the background. So we are building a CRM which integrates with a lot of, we are using heavily Claude, GPTs, LLMs, everything of that sort. But we want to streamline the whole process, and we want to see on how much work of the credit analyst can be automated so that there is no human interventions where we can make mistakes, because that's one of the areas where potentially as a broker you can make mistakes, because if you're not calculating the servicing correctly, if you're not looking at the lender policies correctly and selecting the wrong lenders, it can go haywire. So it's important for me to make sure that we remove all the human errors and have a proper structured way of doing things and automate these things.
Yeah. So are you doing that yourself? Or are you hiring someone to do it? It sounds like a big
So
undertaking.
Yeah. So it is big undertaking. It's a big project. And again, there are 2-3 different teams which are involved. My funder has been simple. If I'm good at, I'll do it. If I can't do it, I'll outsource it. So you cannot be a pro at each and everything. It's important that your time is your money as well. So I always give myself $1 hour. And if that particular thing, if I can't do it, I'll find someone who is more better than me and that person can do it.
Yeah. So you're hiring someone else?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I've outsourced it to a different company who's helping me out.
Yeah, cool. And when do you think that'll be ready?
See, what we are doing is we are working on small bits and pieces as a small projects. So there are some things which are implemented, some things are in the flow. So we work on 3 to 4 weeks of tranche.
Yeah.
So that we are not looking at 1 year and then it'll be implemented. Small wins are good rather than having one big win.
Is there anything that you've done already that you're like, this is amazing?
We are automating because we get on a daily basis, we get something between 400 to 800 emails.
Yeah.
So the project that which we are working on is automating the emails. So what it does, it reads the customer's whole historic emails. It understands what customer is asking the questions. It auto drafts the email for you, but it just keeps in draft so that the team member can review it, what customer is asking, checks the response, it's ready to send.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. Gosh. Oh, can you make me one? That sounds great. When it comes to then, I guess, how you actually manage the workload, because as you say, like there's so many different things you have to do. And now you've got AI and technology, you've got people to manage, you've got clients to talk to, you've got marketing to do. There's so many things that you have to do as a broker. How do you manage your workload?
Diary management. So it's simple. If it's not on my diary, I don't do it.
Yeah.
So yeah, as a business owner, you have to wear so many different hats. And especially when I'm scaling my brokerage firm, every day there's a new issue. So it's simple that I manage my day having the task allocations. Before I go to bed, I just plan a day in advance and I always tick off what are the wins for the day, but I plan for the day. Yeah. So yeah, there are days when it's really not great, but always see that what are the things I can do better. What are the things which I didn't do yesterday, but I can do it better today. Every day, one small win takes you one step ahead.
Incremental improvements.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And do you do any kind of, when it comes to like diary management, like some people might like have like apps that will allow clients to book into their diary. Do you do any of that or do you have someone who manages that for you?
No, I do it myself.
Yeah.
Because I don't want, I wouldn't say that I don't want, but I do it myself. I have more control of what I want to do, how I can prioritize. So it's better. But what I do is I keep a diary next to my bed because I get a lot of time into your 2 a.m. thoughts.
Yeah.
So you just want to write it down while it's fresh, while you sleep.
Yeah.
So it helps me with those creative ideas. So all the creative juices come at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning.
I used to do that, but then I would read it in the morning and be like, I have no idea what I've written. Be like, no idea what that means.
Yeah. Sometimes what I do is I do a voice note to myself.
That's probably better. What you should be doing. Yeah.
Or sometimes I write it.
Yeah, that's a good one. You had mentioned there about some of the tech tools that you're using, like Claude and ChatGPT and the LLMs. Are you using anything day to day that, like in life or in business, that helps you?
See, all the basic tech tools like your Quicklies, your DocuSign, Broker Engine, these are the basic ones that we are using. But as I said, we are working on a CRM which integrates with WhatsApp, sends automatic text messages, emails with your marketing suite and everything. So once that is ready, I think a lot of client communication will be easy and clients will be able to chat with the credit team directly through WhatsApp or via text messages.
Right. Okay, cool. We're going to take a quick break here. When we come back, I'd like to talk to you about some of the big challenges you're seeing in the industry at the moment, what sort of opportunities you're seeing, and what your plans are for the future as well. And we'll get into that just after this. So we've talked quite a bit here about the sort of structure of the team, but I always want to know what is it that's sort of keeping you awake at night? Like, what are the big issues, whether it's in your business or in the broking industry more broadly, or in the lending industry, property industry, that are kind of the things that are really annoying you at the moment?
See, what I feel is that sometimes as a brokers, things are tight because if lender messes up a particular file, broker is the one who is to be blamed. If something a client doesn't do or submits the document on time, and if the finance is missed, broker is the one who gets blamed. So that's the one which is a little frustrating and annoying, being a broker. But what keeps me at night is that I want to make sure that the things don't get messed up. the finance due dates, settlement due dates are met properly, the customers are happy because we are dealing with customers' life savings. It's an emotion for them. For us, potentially, it may be a transaction. But for me, it's going to be a relationship, not just one transaction. So I want to maintain that relationship and I want to make sure that the client gets the best experience and they build their portfolio.
What was the thing that, is there anything in industry where you're like, oh, I wish there was something that was, maybe a specific product or a specific lender policy that you're like, I wish there was something that would do this, that would really help my clients?
See, Macquarie has stopped this trust lending, right? They were amazing. And in a way, it is good because you don't want to over leverage customers. And I had personally seen that people, I saw a lot of Facebook ads of few brokers. They're like, one lender is doing this, let us get this and we'll free up your borrowing capacity. What they were doing was they were getting the owner occupier under the trust and they were trying to exclude that debt. And they were over leveraging. So in a way, it's good that this particular thing has stopped. And I always educate clients on the risk management because purchasing or growing your portfolio is good, but over leveraging where you are at a risk of losing your house or selling it, that's the worst thing to be in. So one of the policies which I wish that lenders had better was income sharing. So your rental sharings, especially if it's if you historically has seen that's hardly any vacancy period and we are getting the rent, why do you want to share it to 20%? Your bonuses, if it is going to be consistent, a particular one, yeah, I understand when it's up and down, you have to share it. But if it is going to be consistent, why do you want to share it? Same goes with your overtimes because I get a lot of clients, especially your nurses and all, you still have those sharings.
Yeah. Going back to looking at the sort of the industry, I mean, the big conversation at the moment is obviously looking at things like mortgage fraud and making sure that everyone is kind of aware of if someone is giving you documentation, that's verified documentation. There's a lot of work obviously going on at the moment with the lenders and the regulators looking at this, and particularly when it comes to AI documentation, that can look really real. It's a growing risk, I think, for everyone involved in the finance industry. How do you guys kind of sit with this? Because I think a lot of the conversations we're seeing is people being like, is it that people are not identifying it, or is it that we're kind of seeing it and not catching it before it's too late? I wonder, have you ever seen anything that's kind of been like, I'm not sure if this is right, and how do you identify that?
Again, our staff get proper trained and we have a checklist. Even, to see your payslip, do they have this things, tick box? Because a lot of times you may get those dodgy payslips and all, but we have to make sure that it is pretty accurate. As you know, the brokering industry is pretty heavy compliant as well. So compliance matters. So we do get our license revoked if the compliance are not met. So we have to make sure that all the file notes are there. Each and every document that we submitted to the lender, it is up to the industry standard, and we double check all those things before we submit the file.
Yeah. Do you think that the process is broken at the moment for actually getting a loan? Because I think this is something we've been talking about a lot, is being like, it almost seems crazy to me that in this day and age with the technology that we're still relying on payslips and bank statements for loans. Like, surely there's, you could use open banking, or you could use like an ATO portal, which is something the conversation is going on. Do you think that would be better?
See, the open banking is coming, and a lot of people will have to accept it. A lot of banks and everything are starting with the open banking, so it's just a matter of time. I feel we'll have to go on that path.
Yeah. When you look at then the sort of challenges you faced over your broking career so far, what have been the big things that have been like, this is really difficult, that maybe other people should be aware of if they're just starting out on their broking journey?
Sometimes clients can be very demanding, and I had a client where he came to me. He said that, hey, I want to come to you, how much commissions can you pay me? And I was like, excuse me, what do you mean? He's like, I met a broker who was happy to pay X commission from whatever he earned. I said, what do you do? He's like, I work at IT at this ABC company. Okay, I'll do this loan. Can you pay me your salary?
Yeah.
He's like, why? I said, exactly. So that answer. So this is my livelihood, and this is what we do. I've got family to feed. I'm here to help you grow your portfolio, put a strategy in place. We are not charging you. We get paid by the lenders. So asking for our stuff, the work that we are doing it, that's unethical, and you shouldn't be doing it.
I've seen this before where people have said, yeah, we'll give you a split of commission, and it's so bad. I think not only because obviously it's giving away some of your well-earned money, but also because it's just showing you I'm not worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like it. When you look at then the things that have been like the best bits about broking over your last 8 years, let's say, what have been the highlights of your career so far?
Looking at the client's portfolio, looking at the equity that they have grown and how close they are for the financial freedom from where they started to where they are now. That is amazing.
Yeah. And is there anything that you kind of think of the big moments in your in Ask Financial's kind of journey? Like, what have been the biggest milestones for you as a company?
It's always the staff members who has helped and supported, small wins that we had for the clients, the difficult deals we were able to get over the line. We celebrate those wins for the clients. These are the small things. As I said, small things, small wins make our life happy as well.
Yeah. If you look ahead then to the year, we're already in midway through, which I can't really believe. Sort of, first quarter is down. We're already ploughing through the second quarter. How is this possible? Nearing the end of financial year. But looking to the rest of 2026, is there any like big plans you've got for the year ahead?
Yes. So for between April to July, I want to sort out the back office. So we are hiring more. I want to implement a new technology, implement this AI, get my CRM live up and running. Once that is done, once we are ready to scale up, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to hire more brokers and we'll be growing as a brokerage firm.
Wow. You said about getting more office staff. You already have, 16 other people? What would these people do?
It's the credit analyst, relationship settlement officers, and all.
Everyone. So
Everyone.
just helping with flows.
Correct.
Yeah. And then bringing in new brokers to join you. That's exciting. So will you be looking at kind of finding other brokers that specialize in property investment or brokers that write other types of loans?
See, we are slowly venturing out into the first home buyer space. We are venturing out into the commercial space. So it's not just predominantly the investment. So investment is going to always be our bread and butter. But that being said, we will be venturing out into those particular areas and I'll have specialists in each.
Yeah. There's a question that I probably should have asked you at the beginning, which is around why you're called Ask Financials. What does it stand for?
Funny story. Back in 2005, when I was at uni, I created a visiting card of Ask Financials. And I always had a vision that Ask Financials, to be honest, ASK is my initials. Yeah. And it also made sense that it's ask for the finance and will provide you.
Yeah.
So I was like, that's a cool name. So let me have it. So I created a visiting card that I'm going to have a company. And I named it as Financials. And
you manifest your own.
I
company.
Manifested it, absolutely.
So you had you made a card when you were in uni. Is this when you were studying finance?
Yeah. So I've done my master's in accounting, master of finance and banking. So I've got double masters.
Yeah.
Soon after I finished a master's degree, I did my RG 146, which is diploma in financial planning, and then I did broking. So when I became a broker, I had that holistic view of accounting, of financial planning, and being a broker.
You just love numbers.
I do love numbers.
You love them, which is a great career for you. When it comes to then looking at, obviously having a busy week and maybe having loads of loans to write, how do you kind of shake off the week? Like, what do you do to unwind and de-stress?
I used to play soccer, but I had ligament tear, I had surgeries. So doctors like, no, you can't play soccer anymore. So I took up badminton. So so I had a group at ANZ. So I just joined them and it's been almost 12 years I've been playing with them. So every Wednesday and Saturday morning, I play badminton.
Cool.
Yeah.
I have not played badminton in a long time. Maybe I should go do that again. It was really good fun. When you look at then like your career so far as a broker over the last 8 years, obviously you've kind of escalated really rapidly to have a very successful brokerage specializing in property investment. Is there anything that you kind of think, if I was going to do this again, I would do it slightly differently?
Yes. I'll tell you an experience what I had. Couple of years back when I only had that 2 back office staff through that particular model, I went out and I had a partnership with like 4 different buyers agents and property sources and all those things. In 1 month, I got 80 leads.
Whoa.
And I was not able to handle it. Those 2 staff members were not able to handle it. I lost more than 22 customers because the lead time had gone really shit. So one thing I realized is first sort out the back office. First sort out your procedures and then go out and source the business. Because if you're confident in your skills, you will get a business. But yes, because those 25 clients, I have basically ruined my relationship with them for life.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
So that's the reason I said between now and July, I first want to build that team. then I want to go and scale up.
Yeah. And I think that's a really great message, actually, for a lot of brokers when they first start. They kind of go, I just need the business. They go and make loads of referral partnerships. And then, as you say, they can't service it. So you kind of shoot yourself in the foot because you're like, well, now I can't actually do anything about it. So taking the time to know what your process and structure and back office support, if you need it, looks like before you bring on heaps of new business flows.
Correct.
Yeah. Just quickly on referral partners before I let you go, do you have any tips on creating good referral partners?
See, mainly my referral partners are the buyer's agents or the people in the property space. Again, you have to speak their language, what language they speak. So again, I'm in the investment space. Buyer's agents are in the investment space. They are the ones who are purchasing the property for the clients. So they want to understand or work with a person who really understands the language, who understands their needs, understand the urgency. And if you are able to facilitate and be an external value-added member for them, they will be your partner.
Yeah. Awesome. And if you had any advice to anyone just starting out on their broking journey, what advice would you give them?
Before I started, one of my mentors, what he said is, speak with 5 to 10 brokers who are in your niche or space that you really want to be like. So I actually interviewed or had a coffee with 7, 8 different brokers. Some of them said yes, some of them said no. But I just understood what their journey was, what they did, what are the things they are doing well, what are the things that it's really working for them, what are the things they're not doing well. So I studied, then I started preparing these different Excel models and what is required in my niche. I had all that thing ready. And what I did is I started not copying, but implementing the things that they did really well and found the ones which they were not doing it. I started doing it. So automatically, I'm doing the things which they are also doing, but I'm also doing the things which they are not doing it. And ultimately, you become better than what other market is.
Yeah, awesome. Well, Amol, thank you so much for joining me today for the Elite Broker Podcast. I appreciate you sharing your journey and best of luck with growing the business. Sounds like you've got a big year ahead of you. If you look forward, let's say we were going to catch up again in 10 years' time, where do you hope to be?
I just want to make sure that the customers are happy, building the portfolios and generating the wealth for them, generational wealth for them. For me, I literally today morning, I was telling my wife, even when I'm 80-year-old, I'll still be working because I just love numbers. It will be different work, but I'll still be working. So it's more of the client satisfactions and building the portfolio, which really drives me.
Yeah.
I'll be doing that.
Awesome. Well, Amol, thank you so much for your time today. And yeah, as I say, we look forward to seeing how you go from here.
Cool. No worries. Thank you so much, Annie.
Thank you. If you've got any questions for me or for Amol Khuntale from Ask Financials, then do feel free to reach out. You can reach me at editor@theadvisor.com.au and, of course, at ASK Financials to Ask Financials with Amol if you want to find out more about his journey. And do take a listen back to previous episodes on the Advisor Podcast Network for other stories from Australia's leading brokers. We've also got the New Broker Podcast on there as well if you're just starting out on your journey and want to find out how other people are doing it. And do make sure you check out the New Broker Academy if you are new as well, which is coming up in May and June on the Eastern Seaboard. We'll be traveling to Brisbane, Sydney and Melbourne, talking to both prospective brokers and new brokers in their first few years about what it takes to be in this industry and scale. And we look forward to seeing you there. For everyone else, we hope you have a fab week and we'll catch you next time for another episode on the Podcast Network.